We're kicking off this episode with a little experiment. Okay, so run this with me. I'm going to read a statement and you're going to tell me what it means for you, how it feels for you. So here we go. The Bank of Canada just maintained our benchmark interest rate at 2.25%, and the economic bulletins are quietly warning that GDP growth will stall at a sluggish 0.5% for the rest of 2026. That's it. What does that mean for you? How does hearing that statement feel for you? What just happened inside your chest when I read that headline? Well, let me give you an idea of what my experience has been personally and with the women that I work with, who are high earning but likely first generation. As a first generation high earning woman, it is very likely that your survival brain kicked into mega high gear and immediately started flooding you with signals that says, stop everything, sit tight, don't make any money moves, freeze all your plans, nobody move. Isn't that something though? It's you're here making good money. You're likely bringing in your healthy six figures. You're doing the thing, yet these headlines are still making you feel like everything you're building is going to come crashing down like that. It's almost as if your growing net worth is a liability instead of your ticket to financial peace and sovereignty. Isn't that ironic? But as a first generation high earning woman, likely your high net worth is very uncomfortable to you. And those kinds of headlines only make you feel worse. Well, let's talk about how we can sift through all that noise, how we can dismantle that safety trap that has you stalling instead of realizing your wealth goals. So, number one, please, ladies, let's stop feeding the imposter earner. You know her well. She chatters in your head. Some of you actually have a name for her. If you have named her, all the better, because that means you know she's there. But the imposter earner is talking and talking and talking and telling you all about why you do not belong where you are. And when the media screams about economic volatility, when it's shouting the headlines down on you, first generation high earners experience something that I've coined as learning curve shame. That's where you feel like you should know it, but because this is all new to you, you don't know it. You feel ashamed. You feel like you don't belong. And the imposter gets on that big soapbox and tells you why that headline is making you feel uncomfortable, and as it should, and da 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 da. You're reading those professional indicators and interpreting them as a personal threat to your safety, to your well being, to your position as a first generation high earner. Well, instead of feeding the imposter by, just letting her run rampant in your head, instead of feeding her by listening to more things that you probably don't understand or continue to make you feel uncomfortable, I think it's time that we put that imposter earner mindset, big mouth, in her place with truth. The truth is that you may not know much about all of these things now, but you can learn. Silence the imposter, shut her down and shut her up by finding and engaging trusted sources for information. And I did say trusted sources for information. Likely not your social media feeds, likely not your friend's cousin, sister, friend down the street, likely sources that have been vetted, that provide neutral information that you can access knowing that it's coming from well-researched grounds, well-informed places and spaces. And then neutralize the imposter with the reminder, women, girls, we have come a long way. What you know now, there was a time in your life when you didn't know it. You have learned so many things along the way to where you are now. And if you can learn, if you have learned in the past, you can learn now. If you can ask questions before, you certainly can ask questions now. If you did it before, you can do it again. So ask the questions. Shut down that imposter earner that's just running rampant in your head. Challenge it, neutralize it, and even better yet, mute it. Shut up. Number two, bring the important things to light. Bring what matters to light. Move past the media noise. And that's going to require you to get real about the things that you're hiding, the things that you're fudging, even the areas where you're straight out lying to yourself about your money. Let's move where we need to and bring the things that matter to light. Because if the things that are important to you keep being hidden, they have the potential, in fact, they have the tendency to trip you up. And instead of being the thing that you can see clearly and decide how you deal with it, it becomes the thing that keeps knocking you down because it's still in the dark. So we keep telling ourselves all kinds of stories in order to make that thing that's happening in the dark okay. We tell ourselves, you know what? Having a large stash of cash is being prudent. We tell ourselves that we're waiting for the right time. We tell ourselves that these opportunities are not right for us. And I'm gonna get a little spicy here. Some of us even go so far as to spiritualize the whole thing and say that the Lord said, or I felt it in my spirit. Come on, girls. For the most part, these are all lies. Now, all of these could be true within a strategic context, but they're typically not true. They are lies. They're excuses. They're not true for the woman that's making money without a plan, and for that woman who has unexplored wealth blind spots. If that is you, I challenge you to take down these excuses and bring what matters to the light. Now, don't get me wrong, and don't be too hard on yourselves, because these are examples of actions we take to protect ourselves when we feel lost or threatened. It's our brain working to keep us safe based on the information that is currently available. When our ignorance is coming to light and our fear of failure takes residence front and center, that's what happens. These are the actions that we take. But instead of hiding, bring light to the dark and the scary places and spaces in your wealth experience. Don't be afraid. I mean, how many times have we been in a strange room in the dark and we see that shadowy figure on the wall and we think, oh, the boogeyman has come to get me. Except when you turn on the light, it's just where you've hung your robe. Come on, if we can bring it to light, chances are that it is nowhere near as scary as you thought it was when you saw it in the dark. And you can find ways to deal with the scary things when you've got light on it. And number three, and I think this is very, very important when we're dealing with headlines, media, and social media feeds. Plan your wealth experiences with facts and not with the emotions of the headlines. I'll say that again. Plan with the facts and not with the emotions of the headlines. We need to separate what's real from what we feel and then make a plan from there. So, what is real in your situation? The cost of goods and services have gone up over the last year or so. Yes, check, that is real. It's real for everybody and it's real for you. What else is real? Our economy right now is very volatile. It seems to be very precipitous. It's almost hanging on by a thread, depending on which sector you're involved in. And that's largely due to geopolitical tensions. Is that real? Yes, that is real. What else is real? For your situation as a first generation high earner, chances are your needs and lifestyle costs are still well within your capacity to manage. You're earning well. So the increase in the grocery store, the increase for the cost of a massage, the increase for a vacation may not be impacting you the way it's impacting other people. That could very well be real for your situation. What is real? You're still on track. You're still on track to participate in some of the things you were researching or exploring recently. So create your plan, make adjustments as necessary, but do that based on the reality of your situation as opposed to the emotions that are being triggered in your body because of the headlines. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not asking you to stick your head in sand. We're not going to ignore the headlines. We're not going to be irresponsible. Yes, listen to the podcasts, listen to the panels that are talking about what's happening in our economy, what's happening politically, what's happening globally. Yes, participate even in the conversations that are taking place, whether or not you have anything to contribute. You can ask a question, you can give a viewpoint or provide a perspective. Explore the themes behind the headlines. Have access to that information. Yes. Then acknowledge the emotions that you might be feeling, because this is where it hits you differently. A lot different people, based on how we were cultured, based on how we were raised, what we were exposed to, these headlines are going to hit us different. But as a first generation high earner, I mean, these headlines, they carry like dynamite weight, like atomic bomb type weight for us, because there's so much riding on us being well and maintaining and increasing our wealth. So much, so many people are depending on us doing well. So acknowledge the emotions that are triggered. Acknowledge what you're feeling. Then set it aside as you create your plan. When we acknowledge what is real and what we feel, we are better able to challenge, manage, and inform our emotions so you can respond in healthy ways instead of being reactive. So instead of just making a plan because you feel challenged, your heart's racing a little bit and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I gotta change this, I gotta do that, I gotta move this, I gotta move that, I gotta call this person, I gotta, you know what I mean? Take the emotion and set it aside and focus on what is real. That is the place from which you're going to create your plan. And yes, if a pivot is necessary, oh, that word pivot, if a change, if an alteration is required, by all means, make that change. Initiate that alteration by all means. Chances are, based on your position, you may be able to maintain the status quo with a few tweaks here and there, just in order for you to maintain the plans that you've got going on. I'll throw one caveat in there, and that is avoid extremes in your responses. In fact, don't be reactive. Sometimes the sheer scope of these headlines can trigger very extreme reactions. So, on the one hand, there is this woman that's going to think, you know what, just forget about it all because all of this stuff's happening. It's outside of my control. No matter what I do, I can't seem to get ahead. So, I'm just going to blow it all. Then on the other hand, you have the woman who runs outside because she reads the headline and she's like, Chicken Little, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. Let's save everything. Let's liquidate everything. We become extreme savers And that creates artificial and unnecessary frugality, hoping to buy ourselves some control. Either extreme is unhealthy, and neither one will get you what you're actually looking for. You are looking for financial peace and financial sovereignty. Yes, all of the craziness that's going on out there, the first generation high earning woman simply wants to be able to manage her wealth with peace of mind and with the knowledge that she can manage whatever comes her way. We just want a little bit of peace and a little bit of sovereignty. We want to be able to take care of our wealth in ways that are healthy, that are aligned for us, in ways that we can sleep well, look ourselves in the mirror and know that we're doing the thing, we're doing it well. If you are tired of having your wealth just decided by the headlines, if you're tired of letting these decisions, announcements affect and impact your internal peace of mind, it's really time to get out of the public commentary, to step aside from everyone else pulling your strings, and it's time to build your wealth sanctuary. I invite you to step into a confidential, private space with me. This is one-on-one. This is 90 strategic minutes. This is a space that is designed to pinpoint that specific wealth blind spot. Why is your heart racing? Why are you troubled by these announcements? What is underlying all of these emotional and physiological responses in your body when you're thinking about decisions that you need to make with your money? This is where we begin. The wealth and worth diagnostic is where we're going to stop with all of the generic templates and actually start architecting your personal roadmap to wealth, peace, and sovereignty. So secure your private session directly by visiting my website, hadrianaleo.com. Find out more about Catalyst Counseling. And I hope that with all what you're seeing on the TV, with everything that you're hearing on BNN or around the water cooler, you can make the choice to step away from the narratives that are controlling everyone else and step into your financial peace and sovereignty. Until next time, take care.